It's really wonderful to have so many poets here in this really interesting creative space. Our next creator is going to be Rick Verana, followed by Pigosby. Rick Verana has been part of Portland's poetry scene for a very long time. He also has the auspicious, well, maybe I should mention this, honor of working for TriMet. Yes, which is another creative stimulation for him. And he has produced many chapbooks, and he has one that is for sale tonight. Here's Rick Verana.
Thank you very much. You know, yeah, this thing was billed as we were going to like sell all our chapbooks here, you know, so I brought a bunch. In fact, I've got not one, not two, but three, and they're $5 a piece, or tonight only, 3 for $12. I'm telling you. This one alone has 27 poems in it. That's 19 cents a poem, my friends. And there's a few in here that are worth twice that much. Anyway, would it be the political Rick, or would it be the romantical Rick, or the witty and insightful Rick tonight? Calm down, only you can see this. But instead, tonight we begin with the deeply psychologically troubled Rick. So I'm going to read the Fear trilogy from Brain Screams. Fear of desire, fear of success, and fear of flattery. Abandon desire. Wisdom of monks and saints conspire against lust, against greed. Try to understand why, but I'm not expected to. Instead, it's urged on me with moral authority for some purpose like salvation or enlightenment. Still waiting for the savory reward, struggling with unmet need. A habit is this guilty remonstrance to every want, no matter how urgent. What makes you think you deserve this? Stern rebuke echoes in me from distant father's judgment, and so every misfortune corrects my pride. Every love lost restores cruel justice. Fear of success. I heard it said about me, he's afraid of success. This before it had ever occurred to me that I might not be one. And over those disappointing years, how the fates have conspired, fulfilling the ancient prophecy. Everything comes to me with struggle. Every happy sky contains a storm cell. Every truth, the truth about loss. Every victory, Pyrrhic. It may come from a lack of well-made goals. There being nothing to measure, the measure is zero. Or maybe I'm just blind to accomplishment, minimizing my own as I take awe in others. Of course, it could be worse. I'm not a total fuck-up. If I were, you know, I'd be a success at that. Number 3, fear of flattery. Sincere whenever I commit the act, flattering small children or pretty women, civilizing barren landscapes of anxiety, careful, sparing overuse, tell someone I like their work only when I like their work. To recognize achievement is to aspire. Aspiring, I again confront my imperfection. Receiving the sacrament, receiving the compliment, I am guarded, suspicious of counterfeit coin, or else fearing the bait for the hook underneath. Whose approval comes without eventual withdrawal? Addicted to the praise, would I suffocate in its absence? Pride only leads to my humiliation. Receiving the sacrament, striving for what I cannot endure. What is my obligation now? Called by sirens into the salt foam of rage waves crashing on a sleeping shore, where I scratch for meager scraps at the seacoast of my sanity. Crows grow riotous in summer dawn. And from book number 2, Postales desde Costa Rica, which is a poem cycle about a trip to Costa Rica. And this is more like the romantical Rick, I think. So this is about a trip in a sailboat called Catamaran. From across Potrero Bay, you can see the lay of the land. Its hills where the monkeys howl each night look dry and somewhat smaller, gazing across the timid wake of this catamaran I share with paid strangers on excursion this afternoon. Something female in this world loves me. I know it, and sometimes she's as solid as a ghost that holds me close to her bosom breath. The swelling breath in these sails, the rubber breath in the snorkel I try on, then slip like a tongue into the warm salt sea. Under the water she is even closer. In my own breath I hear her pulse. Listen to my life support through the hollow tube. Watch silent extravaganza of mullet fish dive into the middle of several hundred yellow-silver bodies. Like a single body around me, they swirl and resume their winding path. Later we anchor for sandwiches and drink, tell each other of the sights we saw undersea. I swam alone along the deeper edge of the reef, where no one else saw the majestic school below. On the lonely beach of Lover's Cove, a single dog, ecstatic, plays with gentle waves. I see I am already here. That which in the world is female, I strongly suspect does love me. And I'm new in this place, and so is she, and suddenly I notice she's been here every day, sits on the deck of the catamaran beside me, smiling with her camera. We take each other's pictures. Red shift sun dives into the Pacific. It's a good trip, I tell you. And finally, Neil is still here. Yes, he is. From semi-ambivalent middle-aged male lament number 25.
Who edited that shit?
Neil Anderson, the great Neil Anderson, put this together for me. I'm going to conclude with a little lesson about writing a poem called Part of the Poem. This is the part of the poem that begins with a punch, some line or two with rhythm, some vivid imagery that draw you in to like a Venus flytrap opening. The next few lines initially rush on to some metaphor or other, but it's likely I'll axe it in the first revision. So it could start out being anything like wind chimes crashing in a storm. Scratch that. About this point in the poem, I've written enough to spare a blank, a break between de facto stanzas. 5, 8, maybe 10 lines above, my next thoughts will be forced into an equal number below. I used to think this helped me think. But now it's mostly to please my favorite critic, who loves to attack my slavish devotion to form. Now comes the part of the poem where I talk about some woman who did me wrong or just did me. I try to keep out images of pile drivers and trains entering tunnels. But if I write it too sweetly wistful, I feel like an old man recounting lost youth. Nobody but another old man would not find that disgusting. And they don't read me anyway, since I'm not telling them something they don't already know. This is the part of the poem where I ramp up to the big finish, insert a fucking gratuitous swear word, or maybe pull some non sequitur surprise out of my ass. You may now applaud.
Damn tall people, and I gotta keep it like this because there's another one coming. Please welcome the amazing, well, to me he's amazing, and I think he'll prove his amazingness to everyone who hasn't seen him yet. Please welcome Pecos B.
Thank you, Curtis, and happy birthday, man. Fellow Scorpio, the scapegoat of the Zodiac.
Oh, I remember.
I brought my book, published by Kinko's. $2, bitch. I want you to read it on the toilet, because I believe that it is the last quiet space in this American life. Excremeditation. I gather my thoughts as I empty my bowels and flush enlightened. Soapbox. We have more ways to communicate than ever. And overall, it is shittier communication. Thank you, social media. Thank you, text messaging. You are the Trojan horse of the destruction of mankind. Activism. We need more active and less ism. I did this collection back in '04. It was called The Brodigans. Richard Brodigan really made me love the short poem. I don't think anyone's done it much better before or after him. In the shower, you and I, like Adam and Eve in paradise, eating fruit from the tree of mystery, which won't get you kicked out. Only the water heater keeps us mortal. Anger. To turn red with metaphysical toxins and flail your arms at ghosts and unrealized dreams. Setbacks. They're called setbacks because they take us back to the fork in the road where we went astray for another chance at getting things right. It doesn't take much to make me feel special. I once caught 10 green lights in a row on the way home from work. It's true, I was there. Note to the unsatisfied customer from the service industry. Look, if I could wave my magic whiner wand around and make everything okay, I would. Crotch. I don't know if you're all you're cracked up to be, but you sure get a lot of attention. Bitter enemies. Not all enemies are bitter enemies. Sometimes when I kill them and eat their flesh, I actually find them quite tasty. Schizophrenia. I just call that being colorful. Ever feel slighted when a complete stranger doesn't fall madly in love with you? How do they sleep at night? With their wrecking ball indifference in their cold black hearts. If I run over time, just tell me they're short so I can keep track.
You're fine so far.
Cognitive dissonance. Loving and hating yourself at the same time is like putting a pizza in the oven topping side down. Pizza is great and all, but it just doesn't work that way. Dilemma. My dick and my conscience have always wondered how the other half lives. See, my conscience doesn't have a dick, and my dick doesn't have a conscience. Imagine all the misunderstandings that ensue. Our passion. Our passion splits the atom and blows the world away. Reference library. If you looked up incompatible in the dictionary, there'd be a picture of us facing each other, arms outstretched in exasperation, with dueling, "What the f*** fuck do you want from me looks on our faces. I told her to go fuck herself. I don't really know what she was so upset about. She's never done anything else I've told her to do. Pinball. Little ball bearing, won't you ride the ramp for me? I need a replay. Epicenter. Tumultuous hearts cause tsunamis of feeling. Cities are destroyed. Habit. Some people flirt with disaster. Others stalk it. Letting go. It sounds so gentle, but it's more like pulling teeth than dropping feathers. The poet. Notebooks in a bag for the thoughts inside his head, braving uselessness.